All right, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Ephraim. Today's date is October 4th, 2022, and I'm welcoming you all to another episode of Real Talk Tuesdays, episode 8. I tell you, there's a lot going on in the world, that's for sure. There's a plethora of things to choose from in the news. I mean, there's a lot going on. I was going to talk about initially about the whole Russia-Ukraine war, but I think I'm going to kind of stay away from that. But that's what's been dominating all the news cycles. But I will say this, right? I really applaud Ukraine for not, just rolling over to Russia. I believe that they were invaded with the intention that they were just going to kind of cower and roll over, and that hasn't happened. They're giving them all they can handle and then some. Of course, they've been getting a lot of help from the U.S. and the NATO allies and the like with money and weapons and so forth. But I really applaud and salute their resiliency in fighting for their country. I mean, let's be honest, they weren't bothering anyone. Okay, I mean, just to invade. I mean, this is 2022, not 1922. Like, I don't even understand. But I just want to say that real quick. Props out to them for standing their ground and fighting for their country, fighting for what they believe, and they're not giving 1 inch. So all this, nuclear talk, whatever the case may be, hope that quells, because that's nothing to play around with. You're talking about, potential apocalyptic, underlinings with that. So, there's been a lot of that kind of getting thrown around like it's no big deal, and it is. So hopefully that'll get quelled. But I just kind of wanted to say that real quick. Shouts out to Ukraine for standing their ground and fighting, because they weren't bothering anyone. And so shouts out to them for that. What I decided I wanted to kind of talk about today, man. This has also been dominating the news cycle. My good friend Herschel Walker. Man, Herschel. Let me say this, and I say my good friend in a facetious kind of way, because I mean he's not really my good friend, but I used to like Herschel back in the day. I'm from that era when I remember when Herschel was tearing it up on a football field for Georgia, and he was doing his thing, man. And when it was time for him to come out, he didn't go the traditional route of getting drafted into the NFL. He actually, ironically, decided to go with the upstart USFL. If many of you remember that back in the day. And not only that, but he got drafted to the team that was owned by none other than Donald Trump with the United States Generals or something like that. And so Herschel and Donald Trump forged a friendship way back then, right? And of course, we didn't have social media or the internet back then, so I never really heard Herschel talk. I never really knew what he believed, what he believed in, or whatever the case may be. He always had this sort of down south country boy type, mentality or whatever. And then so fast forward, Donald Trump endorsed him, and now he's running for Senate for the state of Georgia. He's going up against Raphael Warnock, who's held that position, and in the interim until they have the runoff to the actual who gets to have it for the next 4 years. So it's Raphael Warnock versus Herschel Walker for the Georgia Senate seat, right? And I guess that's taking place next month, right? So I've been kind of following the news cycles here and there, and I mean Herschel Walker. I mean, if you can just make out anything that he says, he just kind of rambles, and then you factor in his real southern kind of drawl, that doesn't help it. And he's just lied a lot. I mean, he's just constantly lying and getting caught in his lies. And in many ways, he reminds me, of a black Donald Trump, basically, which would make sense as to why Trump, endorses him and this and that, because he, in many ways, Herschel reminds me of him. So, you know, it's a natural human thing to attract to someone that's in your image, so to speak, right? So Herschel has been, like I said, dominating the news cycle, and he's going for that Georgia Senate seat against Raphael Warnock. Well, the latest thing with him that's come out is that, because let me back up just a little bit. Herschel, he's definitely, he fits that kind of conservative value, conservative view type. He's come out to say that he's totally against abortion, regardless of whether it's for the life of the mother, incest, rape, none of that. He's staunchly against abortion, right? And then come to find out, some female stepped forward, just literally like yesterday, and said that, I think back in like 2009 or so, thereabout, she actually had an abortion. She got pregnant by Herschel Walker and had an abortion, at his request, because he said something to the effect that it wasn't the time, something. And she has receipts. She has a copy of the signed personal check for like $700, and she has a receipt from the abortion clinic. The procedure was like $500 something, and he sent her the check with the quote unquote get well card. Now, unless she has something more hardcore than that, anyone could easily explain that away, which that's what he's been doing. But in light of everything that's been coming out with him and all the lies, him not claiming all of his kids, and lying, saying he worked for law enforcement, and then he lied and said he was a college graduate. I mean, it's been so much, man. I'm like, wow, man. Like, this is just Georgia. You all deserve better. Y'all do, man. Listen, I loved Herschel Walker, the football player, but Herschel Walker, the politician, that would be a hard no for me. Okay, I'm just being honest, right? Well, anyway, he's come out to say that, the person is a blatant lie, and then they asked him, said, well, is this your signature on the check? And he'd be like, hey, man, I've put out several checks. I give money all the time. I mean, typical talking points for a politician trying to lie to wiggle his way out of stuff. And like I said, unless she has something more hardcore edge than that, I think it probably, with that situation, is going to go with, pretty much who you believe. And if that's the case, Herschel has not shown us that, we can trust anything he says. I mean, really, it's just a long list of lies that he's gotten caught in. And so, unless she has something, maybe have a phone conversation with him, taped him or something, explicitly saying that, he wanted her to get this abortion, this and that. And the reason why that's a big deal is because he's come out so staunchly against women having the right to choose, or the right to an abortion, right? So that's why it's such a big deal, because it's like, as a matter of fact, his son, who he has, I think, by his current wife, came out, and I mean, if this doesn't kind of put the nail in his coffin, I don't know someone paid his son or what's going on here. But hold on, let me bring that up real quick, what his son said about the whole situation. Okay, here we go. I don't know if if his son just have had enough, with all the drama and the lies behind Herschel's run for the Senate. But this is what his son Christian Walker posted yesterday on his Twitter. He said, quote, every family member of Herschel Walker asked him not to run for office because we all knew some of his past. Every single one. He said he decided to give us the middle finger and air out all of his dirty laundry in public while simultaneously lying about it. I'm done, end quote. And this is his son. And I'm going to bring up the other Twitter post he made about it. But his son came out and said this yesterday. So I don't know how this helps him at all, given the latest scandal of him allegedly paying this young lady to have an abortion, but that's pretty telling. I mean, when your own child come out against you like that, I mean, can you imagine, one of Donald Trump's kids coming out and saying something like that about him? Wouldn't happen. Just wouldn't happen. And I'm not trying to say that. I mean, I don't know their dynamics, right? I don't know their relationship. Like I said, Herschel came along at a time when, basically from my era, when we didn't have all this social media and internet and all that. So I don't know what his beliefs are. I don't know what his habits were. I don't know. I don't know if he was a serial cheater. I don't know. Back then you didn't know nothing about anyone unless you saw it in the magazine or, some type of story, in a newspaper or something like that. We just didn't know. So all the stuff that's coming out now, I'm like, wow, it's been a lot. And his son sounds like either he's really truly fed up with all the drama and all the lies, or I hate to say it, someone got to him. Someone paid him off, made a donation to him or something to come out and say this. Because I mean, why would you, if you really feel this way, and that's your dad, right? Like, why would you publicly come out and say something like this? And and I'm not trying to imply that he should, back him in his lies or anything like that. I mean, that's his dad. Like I said, I don't know their relationship, but I mean, why would you publicly come out and say this and tweet this to the world? And that's not it. Hold on, let me bring the other ones up. Hold on, give me a second. As if that wasn't enough, he goes on. Christian Walker further. He goes on to further say, I know my mom and I would really appreciate if my father, Herschel Walker, stopped lying and making a mockery of us. You're not a quote-unquote family man when you left us to bang a bunch of women, threatened to kill us, and had us move over 6 times in 6 months running from your violence. Wow. And then he said, to put the nail in his coffin, he says, I don't care about someone who has had a bad past and takes accountability, but how dare you lie and act as though you're some moral, Christian, upright man? You've lived the life of destroying other people's lives. How dare you? Wow. That is, man, I mean, wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, he came at his neck. I don't know if Herschel promised him some money, he didn't give it to him, and he's mad, lashing out. I don't know, but that's crazy. He put him on blast, and then Herschel responded to what he said, and then this is what he said. I'm bring that up real quick, and I'm gonna bring this to a close. So Herschel got wind of those tweets, obviously, and then his response was, he tweeted, I love my son no matter what. That was his response. And then his son responded to that by saying, you have 4 kids that we know of, and you weren't in the house raising one of them. You were out cheating and lying. If you loved your kids, you'd be raising them instead of running for a Senate race to boost your ego. End quote. I mean, wow. And again, listen, I don't know the dynamics of Herschel Walker and his son's relationship. I don't. I know that I'm a father, and I also know that it's not uncommon for children to come against their parents, whether they have a good reason or not. Kids today, they don't need a good reason. Like I said, you can just tell them no, or tell them you're not going to give them, or give them any more money, or whatever, or and all of a sudden you're the enemy to them. I mean, my son is like that. This dude stayed with me for 6 months rent free, didn't pay for anything, never asked him for a dime, and he never offered. Grown behind man. He finally gets the job, because I'm helping him get on his feet. He finally gets the job, and I let him work for a good couple of months. I said, okay, listen, all right, basically the free ride is over. This is what I'm going to need you to do moving forward. This dude's going to tell me he's not going to be able to do it. Wait, bruh. That's not a request, okay? Either you're going to do it or you won't be able to live here. Well, he took that and ran with it. He moved out in haste because I was trying to I had the audacity to make him stand up and be a man. Like, dude, there's nowhere in the world you can live for free. This dude lived with me rent free for 6 months, never brought anything, never put nothing on an electric bill. I mean, nothing, never offered anything, right? And so I'm like, listen, man, you're my son, but you're not my child. You're a grown behind man with kids. I don't have to take care of you. So he took that and tried to ran with it, and now he has an issue with me. Well, you're gonna have the issue then, because at the end of the day, no one gave me anything. I was taking care of myself since I was 16 years old, and that's a fact. And these young men today, man, they're coddled and they feel entitled. And so I say that just from my personal testimony with my son, because I did everything for him. Everything he asked me for, I gave him. I gave him when I didn't have to give, if you parents know what I mean when I say that, right? So for Christian to come out, so I understand the whole father-son relationship thing, and how kids can just, do whatever, and it don't take much for them to flip the switch on you or whatever. But for Christian Walker to come out this hardcore against his dad, man, Herschel either really pissed him off, or I hate to say it, someone paid him off. And listen, this isn't a political post. This isn't a political, and I'm not endorsing anyone. Okay, let me just be clear on that. I'm reporting the story. This is Real Talk Tuesdays, and we're talking about something that's dominating the headlines right now. That's all this is. I don't get into endorsing nobody, no candidacy. I don't, whatever. I don't get into none of that. All right, so don't come for my neck. Y'all know me better than that. I'm just talking about what's going on. All right, so, but anyway, like I said, the spin is on. Now Herschel's giving interviews saying it's not true. He's going to sue, this and that, yada, yada, yada. And like I said, the receipts that this person has, like I said, unless she has something more hardcore than that, I mean, that stuff can be explained away. She has to have something more, harder than that, or it becomes a, she said, he said, and then he can spin it. Oh, it's just the other side trying to, lie and coming for conservatives, black conservatives, all this kind of stuff. They can spin it how they want to spin it, because we got the election next month. But what Herschel's son said in these series of tweets, I mean, it's telling. It's very telling. And I mean, it remains to be seen, how it's going to affect him. I mean, but I will say this to the people of Georgia. My grandmother's from Savannah, Georgia. Y'all deserve better. I'm not saying, y'all deserve better than that. I mean, it's been lie after lie. I mean, you can't trust him. I mean, it's just a lot. It's a lot. So, praying for the people of Georgia and all my people that's still out, down there as well. Well, all of them, all my people. So I ain't gonna say it like, just my people, but all our people in Georgia. Praying for all of y'all, because y'all deserve better. But on that note, yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. And shout out and prayers to Ukraine. Continue to fight, and don't let those guys scare y'all talking all this nuclear talk, whatever, because they're not the only ones with nukes. Okay, so let's just kill that. But on that note, this was kind of light. That's what's kind of dominating the headlines. I kind of wanted to talk about Brother Herschel Walker. And on another note, even though the USFL ended up failing, so I think he went to the, was it the Dallas Cowboys after it didn't work out for him with the USFL? Well, either way, when Jimmy Johnson came to the Cowboys and did a blockbuster trade, he traded Herschel Walker for a bunch of picks to like Minnesota or whatever. And they said that was one of the biggest draft trades in the history of the NFL, but it brought them 3 championships, right? And so, but anyway, Herschel never really kind of lived up to his hype, if you will. I mean, yeah, he still did well. He had a lot of all-purpose yardage in the NFL, but he still did not make the Hall of Fame. I think he should be, though. I think Herschel should definitely be in the Hall of Fame, and I think that what he did in the USFL should count just like I think that Warren Moon's records and yardage from the CFL should be counted as well, because if it does, he's easily one of the top 2 or 3 passers of all times if they count his his records. Remember, he only played. Warren Moon only played in CFL for 5 years because they wouldn't let him basically play in the NFL. No one would draft him, and he still ended up being one of the greatest NFL quarterbacks of all time. So shout out Warren Moon on that front, the football front. So, but anyway, that's going to be it for this episode of Real Talk Tuesdays. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. So until next time, this is Dr. Ephraim signing off, saying hi by Hashem, Yeshua HaMashiach, Baruch Atah Adonai. Shalom, everyone.